welcome to Yardley, Pennsylvania.
To do a little racing, drive 500 miles. My thoughts of embracing speed around the old Beacon Junior and Center.
Hey, we're off to the races as we kick it in for another edition of The Need for Speed. We got some help this time in the studio.
Guest host. Now it's Wide Open Thursday with Nick Leach.
Yeah, well, it's first
Thirsty Thursday, probably.
Yeah, there we go. We got in here to meet Mr. Foxwell and Mr. LeComte. First time I got in here for Need for Speed. Not good weather to be driving a dump truck around. I mean, with the people out there, some people didn't heed to staying at home. It was really bad this morning. Yeah. I mean, it's just raining now, so all that stuff should be gone by late this afternoon. Yeah. But a lot, you can't work in the mud and you can't dig and do stuff. So my boss gave me off today, so I told Fred I was going to come over here and meet you guys.
Absolutely. There you go.
Yeah, 4:30 this morning, it was ice.
Yeah.
It was ice. I had to scrape my crap out of my window, but it wasn't really that bad once I got in here. And I went in and turned the heat on in the shop, make sure it was all good. And I came back at 6:30, and it was like, oh my God, it's hot in here. Because it's not actually that cold out.
It's not.
You've never been flooded out, have you?
At
the shop?
This place? No.
At the shop?
Marsville, I used to get flooded out a
lot.
lot.
Well, you're on the bottom of the hill there.
Well,
right?
No, it was just the sewer used to back up, and they had bad road management over there. So I used to back up. I had to drain right in front of my parking lot.
Your place in Folsington never, because
because I was a little higher up there. Yeah, it was a little higher.
A little higher, yeah. You're on a hill a little bit.
I had a lot of ground.
And it was flat where you were, and you had a monster parking lot in there.
Big parking lot over there. Yeah, it would take a lot. Really, Noah's Ark would have to float by.
You could get a good oval. You could get a good oval working there.
We will.
Back at the old place.
I would have.
Yeah.
If I was into racing back then, I would definitely do that.
Yeah.
So we got a caller, and I'm pretty sure I know who this is.
I think so. You're up with Fred. Go ahead.
Hey, Jim, Fred,
and Nick. And Nick is here today.
Hey, Earl.
The Trinity is here.
Yes. Three Stooges are here. Yes.
Oh, man. Yeah, I posted this morning that I was going to spend a special segment talking about Will Cagle. And I'm sure you have some stories. Because I remember Will when I was a kid. And we were talking a little bit last night about it. The presence he brought to the pits over in Flemington and probably East Windsor. I don't remember so much of East Windsor, but Flemington I remember like the back of my hand. Some of the ways he used to drive, he was a really good driver. He was a really nice guy, and he was really like
very well respected. I don't think anybody disliked Will. And then the story that Earl gave us last night about him, I never knew that he came down with a sprint car and done all that. That's why we have Earl on our team for the insight that he has. And I've known he's always known the nostalgia part of racing, and that's the reason why he's part of Wide Open Wednesday. And I'm glad that we have him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
thank you. Definitely enjoy it. It's nice to. I always say the drivers like Will Cagle and, of course, car owner Ken Bren, who passed away a few weeks ago, Wally Dellenbach from New Jersey, began in modifieds and went on to race in the Indy 500. These are the drivers, the team members, and, of course, our crew members who are behind the scenes. They're the ones back in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, into the 80s. They built the foundation, racing we enjoy today. They're the ones who, worked on the cars, on cold winter nights, got them set up. I remember, it was John Norsha told me one time, with the famous 81, the Black Horse 81, they were racing at East Windsor on a Friday night, and Sammy Beavers was driving for them. And they got involved in a pretty hard accident, really tore the front end of the car up. And Fred, I'm sure your dad can relate to this. Mm-hmm. They worked, they got the car home back to North Brunswick, literally worked on it all night through most of Saturday just to be able to get to Flemington on Saturday night.
Yeah.
It was no we'll take Saturday night off. No, they had to be there Saturday night. So,
it was their lives.
That dedication.
Yeah, I remember my dad being up a lot of late nights, out there pounding and heating up things and straightening things out. And, Yep, because it was a Friday Windsor, Saturday Flemington, Sunday Windsor, and they never really missed anything.
I remember wrecking on a Friday night at Windsor and going to the car wash, washing the car. My brother said, all right, we're going to get something to eat. We're taking the car back to the shop. We'd work on it all night to get ready for Bridgeport for Saturday, and we'd be done at like 4 in the morning. Get some sleep, get up, and then go to Bridgeport. So, people don't realize how dedicated these people are, and like you said, Will Cagle done it for a living, Earl. So
Yes,
he had to do extra work to take care of what he needed to take care of.
Yeah, my dad used to sneak in between the gas station, because he owned the gas station at the time. So it was working and then doing this and then going back to work and then doing this again.
Right.
Yeah. I remember one year my dad was he worked all day, and then Jeff Bodine was going down to Daytona.
Right.
And he was friends with Jeff at the time, and he worked all day and then drove straight through to Daytona. He said he wouldn't do that again.
No.
But yeah, that's how committed a lot of these guys were back then.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So, what other Will Cagle memories do you have from back in the day that we might not know?
There's a lot over the years.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I always remember one that involved Will Cagle. In 1963, New Egypt Speedway, of course, for many years was a quarter-mile paved track, and Will, again, obviously a very accomplished dirt track driver. This was like his third year up here in the north. He was also racing on Thursday nights at Fort Dix Speedway, which was New Egypt at the time. And then he would, run, a dirt track on a Friday night, usually Flemington on Saturday, Nazareth on Sunday. So my dad and I went to Fort Dix on this Thursday evening. It was mid-June, and we got there, and it was rained out. And this was the same night that the brand new Harmony Speedway was opening. And so we got to Fort Dix and found that it was rained out. There were some race cars there, and among the race cars was Will Cagle's 24 behind his pickup truck on an open trailer. And just as we were coming up 539, kind of pulling in and finding out it was rained out, Will Cagle was leaving the track, heading back up 539, back up towards Trenton. And my dad, he was as great a race fan as I was, and always up for a challenge. And he said, "Hey, that's right, Harmony Speedway's opening tonight. I bet you Will's going there." So we quickly turned around, and we had a basic idea of where Harmony was. And in that track, Harmony Speedway, and especially back then, it was really out in a rural area near Phillipsburg, way out there in the farmland. So we had a basic idea of where it might be. So we figured, let's follow Will, and we'll go to Harmony Speedway. So we followed him all the way up 539, through Trenton, going up, which at that time it wasn't 31, it was Route 69.
Oh, okay.
Went through Flemington. I don't know if you recall that.
That's probably when you couldn't. No, I only remember it as 31.
I was just a thought.
Actually, there's a story there too that Route 69 that went right through Flemington. That's where the Speedway was, right on Route 69. That all of the high school and college kids that were going to graduate in 1969 were taking down the Route 69 signs from the highway right around 1963, 64, 65. And as the story goes, that's why the state changed it from 69 to 31. I always heard that story.
That's
but
crazy.
Anyhow, my dad and I were going up, through past Flemington, and Will Cagle was ahead of us, and all of a sudden he disappeared. He got ahead of us, and we lost him. And we thought, okay, well, he must have been in a hurry to get to the track. So we went on up Route 22. We got to Phillipsburg, and we tried to find Harmony Speedway, and we could not find it. It was, it was raining there too. We thought it might be rained out, and we never did find Harmony Speedway on that first night. We never. We went there later, in later years, but we couldn't find it that night. I remember we even stopped at some little gas station around there and asked the guy there. He said, "No, I don't know anything about a racetrack.
Can't get there from here."
Sounds like Rod Serling all over again here.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't know where Will Cagle went. I guess he went back to because he had his shop up north was around Asbury, New Jersey.
Okay.
In that area, and we figured, okay, he must have just went there. Never know we were following him, but
How hard was it back then? I mean, there was no cell phones, there was no internet, nothing like that. Wow, that's crazy how many times you went all the way to the racetrack and it was rained out. When you could have just, from New Egypt, you could have just said, all right, let's see. All right, they're rained out. And you wouldn't have had to made that tow to do that. But, of course, gas was, 25 cents a gallon?
And also, you wouldn't have this great adventure with your dad.
Yeah, Earl, you wouldn't have had that nice memory.
I like those memories with my dad, too, riding around.
You know, I tell you, we've discussed this before, about how people now, and all of us are guilty of. You look at your phone, it's going to rain,
Yep.
On a race night, my dad and I would not stay home. If we would go to the track, figure, well, it might not be raining there. It's raining here at home, but it might not be raining there.
Right.
And so we would always go, with the hope that maybe we'd get there, maybe there'd be racing,
Right.
At the very least, maybe we'd see a couple race cars at the local diner,
Yeah. I've seen it rain at the Wawa down the corner at New Egypt on 539 and not rain at the racetrack. And we would lose fans because they would swear it was raining. And I'd be like, no, it's not raining here. And we got through a whole season one year where it never rained at New Egypt. It rained at the Wawa, but it never rained at the track. It was crazy. We were like in a tunnel. Bridgeport would rain out. We'd get a whole bunch of cars from Bridgeport. And that one year, I think it was like the second or third year the Grassos owned it, we got all kinds of shows in where everybody else didn't. It never rained. It was like we were blessed.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I drove all the way down there, and I looked on the phone before I left, and it said, "Oh, they're still running." And a half hour later, I said, I didn't even look at my phone until I got down there. Like, where are all the cars? And then somebody was in the parking lot. I don't know who it was. They're like, there was no racing today. The track's too muddy. They couldn't get it ready. I'm like, damn, a half hour ago it was.
Yeah.
But stopped at the diner on the way home and had lunch.
That's a good thing about an asphalt track.
All that climate change will get you every time, Fred.
Yeah.
Well, there were a couple times going back to the 1960s that, my dad and I, we would alternate on Saturday nights between Wall Stadium and Flemington. So I remember a couple times we went to Flemington and got hit with a rainstorm, thunderstorm, and they canceled the racing because the track was just obviously lost.
Right.
And Dad would say, again, before cell phones, anything like that, obviously, Dad said, let's try Wall Stadium. Let's go over there and see if they're running. We drove from Flemington to Wall Stadium, and they were running. Yep. More missed them, and we saw the races there. So,
well, the best part of Flemington was when they had a little shower, and then they would open the gates and you could cross over. You just skate across there. You just put your feet down and you slide all the way down. That was the best. Oh, it's time to go skating at Flemington, huh? Yeah, go over there. And
You slide right down that hill.
Yep, slide right down the hill. Yep. See, we've done the same stuff.
We might have been doing it together, Nick.
Yeah, there you go. Fred, wait for me.
One more story about Will Cagle. This is in the era before racing safety shoes. Will, if you notice a lot of the old pictures, he always wore sneakers.
Right.
And what he did is the sneaker on his gas pedal foot, he literally shaved down the sole very thin.
Wow.
So that he could have a better feel of the gas pedal.
And that's something.
There.
Yeah.
Now, Earl, was he an accomplished sprint car racer before he came up north? You said he towed a sprint car. Was he an accomplished sprint car racer down south?
From what I understood, he was. And Will told me that he raced and won in sprint cars in Florida and in the southern tracks. He also ran super modifieds down there. So that was kind of his. At that time he was also running your basic modifieds of the era and super modifieds that ran Florida, the southern tracks. That was his original intention.
Wow, that's crazy.
He told me to come north and run a sprint car because he heard a lot about the sprint car competition up here at the time.
Yeah, that's and now Gil Hearn came from Florida too, correct?
Yes, he did. Yes.
Yeah, me and Gil became pretty close because his son raced go-karts when I raced go-karts at Flemington in New Egypt, and me and Gil he actually came to my wedding, and then that's where I met Martin Truax and his father, And that's how I got to be friends with Martin Truax. And it was funny when he came to New Egypt. I said, a lot different from when we raced go-karts, huh? He goes, oh, yeah, a whole lot different. And, I got pictures of him when we raced go-karts together. It's just, the world is so small, but it's not. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I have so many memories of when I done that and did what I did, and when we done the NASCAR stuff with the guys coming and driving the cars, but there's so many memories of Fort Dix and all that, and that's why we got to get you in the studio to do the time capsule, because the people are waiting for it. Trust me.
Oh yeah,
definitely looking forward to that. Absolutely.
As soon as we get past Trenton here, well, while we're talking about that, while I bring it up,
Yeah.
let's talk about Trenton and all the good things happening at the indoor race, the dirt track race at Trenton at the Cure Arena.
Yeah, that comes up here in a couple more weeks. You know, you get a day like this with the sleet and the icy rain and the snow, and hey, start thinking racing. The Cure Insurance Arena, right there just off of Broad Street, not too far from the Area Auto Race News office, right there in Trenton. February 21st and 22nd, Friday and Saturday. We have micro sprints competing on the inside. It's a roughly 10th mile dirt track right inside the arena, and these are wingless 600cc micro sprints, and it's the basic same clay that was used at East Windsor Speedway, dustless, smooth. Once again, Davey Salmons, who engineered the excellent concrete Coke syrup surface indoors for Atlantic City and Allentown. He'll be taking care of the track surface at Trenton, so it's going to be a great show. And feature events both nights. On Saturday night, we have a 40-lap A-Main, $5,000 to win. And you'll see drivers like Billy Pouch Jr., he'll be racing in the micro sprint. So it's an excellent show, and, great to have everybody there. And,
I saw the picture, not to interrupt you, Earl, but I saw a picture of Billy Pouch sitting in a micro sprint this morning, and I'm like, where the hell's his legs? Like, how's he? Because he's a taller guy. I don't know how the hell he got it.
And a lot of guys that run TQs are going to run the 600s, right, Earl?
That's correct, yes.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll be a cool show. We're going to try and set up a table there for Wide Open Wednesday and go down in the pits and do some interviews and stuff like we did at Motorsports.
Yeah, I think Earl's getting a hold of Matt, and we're going to try to do something with WBCB as well.
Oh, cool. Well, that'll be even better.
We'll work it all together. Yeah, that'll be so awesome. And it really is going to be a great event. I can't wait to do it. 2 weeks from now.
Very good.
Yep. So. And being Fred got my wife to go to Motorsports after umpteen years, I talked to her last night and I said, well, Fred's going to ask you to go, and I know it's your birthday on Friday. She goes, well, I guess I could go. I'm like, what? So, I don't know. Fred's got the magic touch with my wife. I've been begging her to go for years and years. He just asked her once, and she goes, so I don't know what the deal is. She goes over to the shop and takes care of the shop for him, cleans the shop for him and stuff, and he takes care of our cars. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't want to know, to be honest with you. But
he's cleaning my shop.
I think it's because his wife's name is Nancy and my wife's name's Nancy. So he has something, some kind of magic with Nancy. So that's fine with me. I don't care.
As long as she gets out to the
As long as she gets to go to the track. That.
See, I got her back into racing.
There
for
you go,
Nick.
Brother. That's perfect.
I'm like a marriage therapist.
Marriage counselor. Thank you.
Dr. Phil over here.
Together.
See that, Foxwell? He takes care of me in more ways than one.
You got it. All right.
All right, Earl. Well, we'll be talking more about Trenton as it comes up, and I know you got something going on in a few minutes, so we're going to let you cut
out
loose.
here momentarily. Have a routine eye exam this morning,
There
the roads look good for my view here. So. I'll be heading out.
Okay.
And, hey, we'll look forward to talking with you guys Wednesday.
All right, you got it.
All
I think we got another caller, too.
Yeah,
We do have another caller.
Thank you, Earl. All right.
Everybody be well.
All right,
Take
you
care.
too, Earl.
Okay. Hello there. We're up with Nick and Fred today.
The Wide Open Thursday.
All right, it's like Manny, Mo, and Jack. This is Joe Zalesic from the beautiful Mayberry, Mount Airy, North Carolina.
There you go. Hey, Joe, what's happening?
How's the weather, Joe? Is it nice there?
Well, it was 71 yesterday.
Oh, gee, thanks. Rub it right in, Joe.
Man.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk to you guys about the fantastic show at Bowman Gray.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I watched it. That was a good
Not
run.
so much the big cars, but the modifieds ran on afternoon. Now, get this. I think they started 25 cars. The fastest time was Danny Bone. In the redraw, he pulled 18th place. But then one of our local guys here, Chris Fleming, he took the fan challenge. He started from the rear of the field. The guy spun out after 5 laps, and he worked the outside of that race, 125 lapper, and he came on to win the race.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was cold. It was Turkey Derby weather.
Right.
But this guy, he's a local hot shoot. He's never been a champion at Bowman Gray, but he beat all the champions. And he ran a smooth race, and he ran that outside groove, and he did a fantastic job. So, I was there taking some pictures, so it'll be in our local paper probably on the weekend. But it was, 17,000 people at Bowman Gray.
Now, I know on the broadcast, for the NASCAR broadcast, they were talking about they didn't think that they would have an outside groove, and they wound up having an outside groove for the big cars. But they got to be pretty happy with the guys that ran in the big cars. I mean, it was the first time they've ever done it, and to have NASCAR come to Bowman Gray, I think that was a home run. I think they need to do that every year.
Absolutely. Now, the track was getting torn up a little bit because, those cars are a lot heavier.
Right.
And there were guys that were wrecking. Kyle Busch got pushed, and they call it the madhouse. But there were a few little bit of fireworks. But I thought that the track was done well. They put a catch fence up, and they never had one.
It was better than what I thought it was going to be. I mean, the only little hiccup was off of turn 4 where the fence came out where they had to put the safer barrier, but they done an excellent job. I mean, if you never got a chance, if people listening, put it on your bucket list to go to Bowman Gray. That's one of the coolest places to go. Yeah. And, of course, the Bone brothers are down there with their father. Eddie Bone, who used to race up here at East Windsor and New Egypt and Wall Stadium and stuff. You put that on your bucket list. Go to Bowman Gray, Fred. We should put that on our bucket list. He's not lying. It's the place to be, and they pack it there. It's a football stadium. They're racing around a football field is what they're doing.
Well,
and it's
you
cool.
Guys, if you guys come down, I'll give you a tour of Mayberry, because I'll tell you what, after that race was over Saturday night with all the heats, I took a bus to the parking lot at the football stadium. I was home in 30 minutes.
There you go.
There was for them to move that many people out in such a short time, they had the logistics right. And
that's cool.
This is not out in the middle of nowhere. This is in the middle of Winston-Salem City.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So. Yeah, they get an A for that. They definitely get an A for that, and we appreciate you calling and talking about it because that's a hidden gem. Bowman Gray, the Madhouse, you got to go there. You got to put that on your bucket list and go there just to watch a regular modified race there. You don't have to go for the cup race. Just go there on a regular weekend race night. It's something to behold. And you got some people from up north here that race down there now, the Bone brothers, and you got Brett Myers and Burt Myers and them guys that race down there, and they're likable people. I mean, they've come up this way for the Turkey Derby and stuff, and it was neat to see them race a big car, too. He didn't do very well, but they got a chance to race with the big guys, and that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and Bobby Labonte was in a modified, and Jamie Tomano built Chris Fleming's car.
Yep, so, pretty cool.
Nice.
Okay, guys,
right.
We'll see you.
Thanks for calling. We appreciate it.
For us, we'll be down.
Thank you so much. All right.
But, I was watching the Bowman Gray and the race on Sunday.
Yeah,
the big race. And
there's it's a stadium. You could probably look it up. I mean, they're racing around the football field.
I thought it was 100 times better than when they ran it at the L.A. Coliseum.
Yeah, the L.A. Coliseum was too publicized for other things. They took away from the race, I thought. Mm-hmm. They had this entertainer there and that entertainer. Bowman Gray, it took you back to the back of old-time racing. Yeah. And then if you see the football field right in the center there, so they're racing around a football field. And they raced there a whole season during the season with pancake modifieds, I call them, and the racing is phenomenal. And I said, this is going to be another yellow lap, but no, they impressed me. They had an outside groove, an inside groove, and they ran well. They did and NASCAR needs to commend it for that.
Yeah, I heard
a
lot of the guys complaining about getting pushed, getting wrecked, getting stuff like that. I was like, in that track, you got to expect it and hope you end up on the best side of it. I mean, it's that kind of track. It's like Bristol.
Yep.
I mean, you're going to get pushed.
The only guy that's happy at a racetrack is the guy that wins.
Yeah.
Okay? He's the only guy that's happy. The guy that finishes second, well, you could have done this, and he knocked me out. That's the only guy that's happy. Everybody else is unhappy.
Yeah.
So, when you've been involved in it as long as we have, you've seen every scenario. You've seen people that never go to the track, never work on a car, but they have all the answers. Yeah. So, come to the track and help us. You got all the answers? Come help us. If you can make WBCB better and you have all the answers, come on over here and see Mr. Foxwell.
I haven't got any of them, so that's
no, I don't either.
It balances it out.
I'm here to learn. You got to learn every day. When you stop learning, then you got trouble. So, but there's too many other things going on in the world to worry about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Just go to races, have some fun, tune out for a while. That's all I do.
Yep, and Godspeed to Will Cagle. Earl has more stories than that about all the drivers that we know and we loved growing up. You know what I mean?
Thank goodness they're using football fields and other things because they're not being used for anything else out of season. And
and
it's
that's
all
a
about
cool little town down where Joe lives in Mount Airy, which is basically where they filmed Andy Griffith.
Mayberry, that's cool.
Yep, Mayberry.
That would be cool. Hey, Barn, we're going over here.
Aunt Bee's in lane 3.
Yeah.
I have a friend
I would love to go down there
that lives down there, and
pretty cool.
They say it really is like Mayberry and Mount Airy.
That's funny.
They have a Andy Griffith statue, all that stuff down there. So it's on my list to get down there.
But yesterday they opened the mall up down there in Philadelphia off the boulevard, and some people got to go back and open up their businesses and stuff.
It's old Tobacco Road country down there, right?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like you step back in time. The further south you go, the nicer the people are. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. And it's please, thank you, yes sir, no sir. Around here, you're hard pressed getting that.
I have a lot of people I graduated with from Ewing High that moved down there, and they say they'll never come back because the friendliness and the whole atmosphere. And I guess when you're retired, you got a little bit different mind frame, but you don't have that hustle and bustle and people running up your butt all the time.
We just got to take Tasty Cakes with us because they don't have them down south. So
we'll call Jim and say, hey, send us down some Tasty Cakes.
Well, you get the colleges down there too.
Send us some.
You get the colleges. You got Duke, North Carolina State.
Duke, Winston.
Wake Forest, so a whole new audience down there.
Now I hear you talk about being a baseball player. Now baseball is my favorite sport. Yeah. So you had a chance to be a professional baseball player? Yes, no.
Yes. In '71, I was drafted by the Braves.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How cool was that?
Yeah.
Did you get hurt or?
No, I just not enough money to offset. Well, my parents wanted him to pay for college.
Doesn't that suck? That sucks.
Well, that's just a negotiating process there, and it's just so eventually I went to Florida State, and then I ended up with a degree out of there, coming out of there, and then but nothing after that. So, but I did it actually.
We hit fame and fortune here.
Yeah.
My nephew Zach was a pitcher in college, a Holy Family, and he was a very, very good pitcher. And then the politics got to him too, and he said, "I don't want to do it anymore, Uncle Nick."
Yeah.
And it's just. It's crazy because there's a lot of good athletes out here.
I missed it when it was over, though. I'll tell you that. It's
really I mean, you get used to that lifestyle, and you get used to, and you love the game. I can tell that you love the game just by the way you talk. You haven't forgotten where you came from, and I played Babe Ruth when I was younger. I was a pitcher, and I taught Zach most of the stuff that I knew, and he was good. He was really good. He had no bad habits, but he just got ruined by the politics.
Yeah, it is a crapshoot.
Yeah, when it becomes a business, it's
like anything else. Everything is about odds. Whether you're interviewing for a job or doing anything, it's all about the odds. Well, you got to be in the right place at the right time. Maybe you know somebody that knew somebody that recommended you.
Right, exactly. I mean, I didn't know Fred from Adam. And he pulled me out of the air. He's like, hey, man, I want to do a show. Will you help me? And I said, absolutely.
Yeah. I used to sit
lo and behold.
top of the bleachers there in the front stretch of the New Egypt and say, Hey, that's Nick.
Yeah.
That's about it.
But somehow the dominoes fall a certain way, and
I'm glad they did. Trust
right
me.
place, right time.
I'm very happy right where I'm at.
Yeah. But a lot of stuff going on here for a Thursday, I can tell you that. Under the Hood with Fred, America's mechanic, ladies and gentlemen. And then the Need for Speed, good for Nick to come in anytime.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you want to be a part of it. Another head in here that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
great.
Yep.
And thank you for listening.
Yep.
Here.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Be safe out there. The roads are still just crappy, but not as icy as they thought.
I think it's just rain now, going to turn over to rain, and then we should be okay. Just watch skating, guys.
As they say, drive recklessly. The life you save might be my mother-in-law's.
Slide easy.